Welcome to the Generational Wealth Podcast. Bitcoin can change the game for the Black community. In today's show, I'm going to show you 7 ways that cryptocurrency can make more Black people wealthier than ever. All I need you to do is smash that thumbs up button. Takes 2 seconds, but it goes a long way towards supporting the channel. For those of you that are just getting on, please make sure that you like. Today we are going in. I want to give a special shout out to everyone who's checked out my free webinar on the 3 keys to financial freedom. This is where I show you how you can stop trading time for money. The average millionaire has 7 different streams of income. So if you want to know how to make more money, I'm showing you how in this webinar. This is going to show you how you can stop trading time for money, but also how to get out of a fixed salary. If you want to create generational wealth, you need to build systems that give you unlimited earning potential. All you got to do to join the webinar is to click the link in the comments below. If you're just now joining, make sure that you leave me a comment. Let me know that you're on. Show me some love. I also want to give a special shout out to all of my sponsors. For those of you that are wondering what a sponsor is, it's someone who donates to this channel to help it continue to grow from year to year. I do these shows 3 times a week where I'm trying to give you guys all the game about how I paid off $95,000 in student loans, how I became a best-selling author, and how I own over $1 million in real estate. This channel is to show you guys how to create generational wealth for you and your families. Whoever makes the highest donation for today's show will be the official sponsor of the event. Enough talking. Let's tap in. How Bitcoin is changing the game for the Black community. I want to show y'all an article that I read recently, guys. This really blew me away. And I want to give a big shout out to the author of this article and how they're trying to put the culture on. Notice this is something that came out, guys, recently, I guess for Black History Month. For the Black community, Bitcoin represents an opportunity for wealth preservation. Now, a lot of you guys have heard about Bitcoin before, but what does this have to do with helping Black people make more money? The Bitcoin narrative has veered far away from early investors' vision of enabling economic freedom, at least in the US. But for many in the Black community, that narrative is still alive, and it's imperative that people stay focused on it. Bitcoin's core values, decentralization, censorship resistance, its peer-to-peer nature gets pushed to the side time and time again as the industry tries to grow in a world run by intermediary institutions. Opening an account at a centralized exchange like Coinbase or Kraken or until recently FTX is the easiest and most common way to get into crypto. And it's safe to bet most people are playing the speculation game, trading crypto on an exchange instead of transacting directly with another person as Bitcoin was intended. Now, guys, I'm going to translate all of this for you. Y'all know my job is to break this down so it's easy to understand, but I'm going to continue to read on. There's a long game to play, however, particularly for the Black community. Thanks to Bitcoin's core values, anyone can store their wealth or move it around on the network, and no one person can stop or control that. For Black people, that's a golden opportunity to level the playing field and give them sovereignty over their wealth, said Lamar Wilson, founder of crypto-focused network Black Bitcoin Billionaire. A lot of our history with America has not been the greatest. Whenever Black people have put their money into things in the past to build wealth in this country, it has been coerced out of their hands. It has been taken from them. It has been burned down or destroyed. Now, there is some truth to this. In the 1800s, Seneca Village, Manhattan's first known community of African American property owners, was destroyed to build Central Park, for example. The Tulsa Race Massacre, also known as the Black Wall Street Massacre, happened in 1921 when a white mob burned the wealthiest Black community in the U.S. to the ground in the Greenwood district of Tulsa, Oklahoma. A couple years later in California, Manhattan Beach officials forced out Willa and Charles Bruce, claiming eminent domain. That land was returned to the Bruce family last year. Bitcoin is an asset that you can actually store and hold yourself, and no one can take you, Wilson said. This provides a way to be a part of an asset that is globally liquid around the world. Fast forward to today, and Black people still largely start their wealth building journeys from behind. According to an FDIC survey, the proportion of U.S. households that were unbanked in 2021 was the lowest it's been since the bank regulator began the survey in 2009. Now, when you look right here at the parentheses, it shows that this unbanked rate of U.S. households is at 4.5%. Still within that group, at every income level, there's a big difference in the unbanked rates between Black and white households. Ultimately, that discrepancy shows up in the stock market's racial investing gap. In other words, Black people are more likely to not have money in the bank than any other group in America. Out of the different ethnicities, Black people are more likely to keep their cash out of the bank and the stock market than other communities. Share of people in the United States who are unbanked. And right here, you can see the chart. You can see how Blacks are much higher than Hispanics as well as whites when it comes to putting their money in the bank. A lot of us like to keep that money in the mattress, but this stops us from creating generational wealth. It says the things that we see in our financial system that are meant to protect and hold banks accountable can also end up being a double-edged sword that causes exclusion to certain populations in the financial system. For example, know your customer laws can keep someone with a certain last name from being able to register for an account. And at some banks, it can cost money just to be able to hold money in a basic checking account. Facts. Robinson said Bitcoin is an opportunity for people who have been historically either left out of the banking system or been involved in it in a way that is made difficult and sometimes expensive to transact without running into these barriers. So when you read the article, the author highlights how Bitcoin may help the Black community build wealth. They talked about how there's so many of us who don't have our money in banks, and how when you look at stories of what happened in the past, we've seen times in which different Black communities try to create wealthy systems, but for one reason or another, it was taken away from us or it was burned down. And I want to talk about the benefits of cryptocurrency for the Black community. The first benefit that I want you guys to think about is financial inclusion. Cryptocurrencies provides a way for people who aren't in banks to access financial services. This is something that's common in the Black community. I just showed y'all the studies show that more Black people don't have their money in banks than any other community in this country. And if we're going to circulate our money into investments, Crypto gives us access. It provides a way for people who don't put their money into a bank to access financial services, which is often in the Black community. This gives us an opportunity. The second thing that I want us to think about is decentralization. Decentralization is one of the main benefits of cryptocurrency. What is decentralization? Decentralization is when your currency is not controlled by the government or a financial bank. This means that crypto doesn't have the same regulatory restrictions and manipulation tactics as other traditional currencies. Guys, this can be something big for communities that are underserved or discriminated against by traditional banks. What I'm trying to show you guys is that this opens a door for a lot of Blacks who feel like they don't get a fair shot at regular banking institutions. Let me tell you guys about some of the restrictions that go into US currency. First, there's a limit on cash transaction. There's only so much cash that you can put if you're trying to buy a car, you're trying to buy a house. You might have noticed they don't let you buy big purchases using a lot of cash money. The reason why is because of anti-money laundering laws. You cannot go into any car dealership having $50,000 in cash and they're just going to take the money and run. No, they're going to make you use a check or another form of payment because they have limits on cash transactions. This is something that's big for those of us that aren't in banks. When you think about the problem with the US currency, there's a lot of restrictions, but cryptocurrency is decentralized. Another thing that's really important when you think about restrictions is the reporting requirements. Okay. There's a lot of banks that are required to report transactions to the government. And some of y'all might not like that. That's why you'll like cryptocurrency. Also, when you think about how the government controls money, the government has the power to restrict how much money is flowing in and out of the country. This is talking about cash. This is talking about you using that US dollar. If you're working through a local bank, the government has control to stop the flow of money. The same thing applies with how money is manipulated. Guys, you've seen how I've talked about the Federal Reserve, how they raise the interest rates. They not only adjust the interest rates, they also control the money supply. This affects the value of a currency. Sometimes governments can do currency manipulation, which artificially devalues a currency so that they can have a trade advantage. I'm not going to go into all the ins and outs of how the governments work, but y'all should know that the government is always trying to manage your money. This is the reason why they have banks. This is the reason why they have the tax system, is because they're trying to regulate your finances. Crypto makes it possible that you can get past this. It doesn't have the same regulations as a local bank. Another reason why cryptocurrency comes with a lot of benefits is because of security. It uses advanced cryptography to secure transactions, making them hard against fraud and hacking. I want you guys to know something. When you talk about cryptocurrency, there's a lot of tech people that will tell you that the technology that goes into blockchain, this is so advanced, it's far beyond how a lot of money is protected now. When you look at a lot of websites, they don't have the same levels of technology as the technology that's built on crypto. Crypto, blockchain, these are terms that y'all need to get familiar with because this is the way of the future. The reason why cryptocurrency blew up is not because of the name of a coin, it's because of the technology that backs these coins. You want to get real familiar with the security. Another thing that's very big is lower transaction fees. Because cryptocurrencies don't involve intermediaries like banks or payment processors, the transaction fees are a lot lower than if you go through a traditional payment method. Now, guys, how does that benefit the Black community? Well, if it's lower transaction fees, that's going to be beneficial for those that are living in poverty or have lower incomes. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about when I'm talking about lower transaction fees. A lot of you guys know that whenever you use a credit or a debit card, there's a transaction fee that's associated with it. So if you go to the cleaners, they might charge you an additional amount if you use a credit card. A lot of times when credit card transactions happen, there's fees that goes to that merchant. It's typically between 1.5% to 3% of whatever the transaction amount is. These credit card companies, they'll add on an additional cost. But that's not something that you have to worry about when it comes to cryptocurrencies. For a lot of cryptocurrencies, they have very low transaction fees that are only a fraction of the percent of the transaction amount, or sometimes nothing at all. A lot of you guys that use banks are familiar with wire transfers. Wire transfers also involves fees, which varies depending on your bank. If you try to send a wire transfer to a different country, that's going to cost you more money. If you're doing wire transfers in the US, it's typically going to cost around $30. Cryptocurrency, on the other hand, has little to no fees for international transfers. It's not exposed to the same regulations. So if you guys are trying to transact money and do money transfers, you can save more money through crypto than you ever could through a credit card or through your local bank. It cuts out a lot of the fees. If you're talking about having any international transfers, you need to know about international transfer fees. I'm sure some of y'all might have bought something online and you might notice there's a charge on your bank statement that reads international transfer fee. You get charged anytime you buy something from a different country. Typically, that's anywhere between 1% to 3% of the transaction amount or more. Cryptocurrencies allows you to waive those fees. A lot of times you can do business internationally with crypto where you have little to no fees at all. But I want you guys to consider when you talk about the transaction fees, it depends a lot on the specific cryptocurrency that you're using. There's different coins. The exchange or the wallet where your crypto is being used and what's going on in that crypto network. I'm not going to go into all of the details around crypto terminology. I'm just trying to give you guys a high level report on how cryptocurrency can change the game for Black wealth. A lot of these things that I'm mentioning right now is where a lot of us get caught up and we lose money. Another way that crypto can help the Black community is through staying anonymous. A lot of times when you read these articles, it'll talk about how there's all this discrimination. Certain Black families don't have access to local banks. Well, when you use cryptocurrency, this gives you the ability to conduct transactions anonymously. Some of these cryptocurrencies can allow you to not put your identity in at all. That helps you protect your privacy, but most importantly, it protects you from the potential of discrimination. There's no way that they can profile you if they don't know who you are. There's no way that they can discriminate against you if there's nothing tied to the identity of the person. Some of these cryptos are just blanket trades. They don't know if you're Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, East Indian. They don't care. And that's the reason why this can open up a lane for so many people. Another reason why this can really help our community is because of global access. Cryptocurrency gives global access to anyone with an internet connection, regardless of where they live or their financial status. I want you to think about all of the people that are internationally who don't have the same access to traditional banks like you. You know a place that comes to mind? Africa. For everybody in Africa who doesn't have access to banks at every corner, this gives them opportunity to still trade currencies. This gives them a global reach. So whereas they might have only been limited to doing trade in their local village before, now through cryptocurrency, this gives them access to trade around the world. I'm telling you guys, some people are going to take advantage of this. You've already seen how there's been these crypto millionaires and billionaires, but more specifically, I'm showing how we have access now that we would have never had. You can anonymously trade, not have to worry about any discrimination. Now, this will make the playing field level. And that brings me to the seventh benefit of cryptocurrency, which is the potential for growth. See, I want y'all to think about something. Because crypto is still on the cutting edge, that gives opportunities that we have never seen before. Some of you guys could be tied to cryptocurrencies that comes with extremely high returns on your investments. We're talking about the kind of returns on investments that can bridge the wealth gap. So when you talk about the stock market, for example, you could have a good stock that might give you an average return of 8% over the past decade. But when we're talking about cryptocurrencies, we're talking about guys that's gotten 100% ROI, return on investment, 200% ROI, 300% ROI. That can help change cultures. If we are so far behind on the racial wealth gap, you might not be able to change that through a standard investment. You want to have something that can give you exponential returns. The stock market is largely sewn up. The real estate market is largely regulated. But one of the markets that's still wide open is cryptocurrency. Crypto is still anybody's game. And we need to look for opportunities to level the playing field. So a lot of us don't own businesses. Cryptocurrency gives opportunities to start businesses. There are so many people that are becoming entrepreneurs through crypto trades. This gives us an opportunity to create wealth, especially if you didn't have access to funding before. Guys, y'all know most people, they get their businesses funded through traditional funding sources. If you're complaining that, oh man, Black people don't have the same access to a standard investment for their business like other communities do, well, cryptocurrency creates a brand new world. It gives you access to investment opportunities that we've never had. And so I just want to quickly recap these 7 game-changing elements. It first gives you financial inclusion if you didn't have access to a bank. It then decentralizes the money, so that way it doesn't come with the same kind of government regulations. It gives you the top security on the market. Cryptocurrency is backed by world-class infrastructure, lower transaction fees. You can be anonymous. This is that one alone. If don't none of the other ones sound appealing, you can literally trade money and nobody needs to know who you are. They don't need to know what you look like. They don't need to know where you live. It gives you 100% privacy. That's impossible going through your local bank. Number 6, global accessibility. I know a lot of y'all are in first world countries, so you take for granted how easy it is to put your money in a bank. Try living in some of these other countries where there is no bank at all. That's why a lot of people are impoverished. So their come up is taking advantage of the crypto space where you don't need access to a local bank. The 7th thing that you need to consider is the potential for growth. Again, you can invest in stocks and bonds and the returns would only get so high. Or you could invest in crypto where the returns go to the moon. Why do you think all of these teenagers are becoming millionaires? It's because crypto allows you to make money rapidly in ways that you never could. Now, I'm not saying that crypto is for everybody. And I'm not saying that crypto doesn't have its cons. What I am saying is this is something that our community needs to consider. And I want us to talk about all the downsides of cryptocurrency. So that way, before you put all of your money into it and blame me if you take a loss, you know what you're getting yourself into. The first downside of cryptocurrency is volatility. Cryptocurrencies are very volatile. That means it can go from 0 to 100 real quick. Now, you might like that when the market is up, but you won't like that when the market goes down. A lot of people have talked about how they had big money in crypto and they lost it all overnight. The second downside of cryptocurrency is the lack of regulation. Lack of regulation in a financial market is a double-edged sword. Let me break this down. Because crypto isn't highly regulated, that means that there's a lack of oversight. Lack of oversight means nobody is protecting your money the same way as a local bank. This is the reason why crypto market is notorious for pump and dump schemes. You've probably heard stories about people that gave fake promises on high returns. You've probably heard about scandals where there might have been these influencers that said, put your money into this account and watch it go from $1 to $1,000,000. That's what happens when a market isn't regulated. It's subject to different forms of market manipulation. Another thing that you guys got to think about are the security risks. Now, are cryptocurrencies secured by advanced cryptography? Yes, but they're still vulnerable to hacking and other security risks, especially depending on the kind of cryptocurrency exchange that you're using. Privacy keys can be stolen. One of the biggest things that's happening right now in this digital age is cybercrime. So, guys, for all of the pros of crypto, it also does come with equal risk. There's also a lack of transparency since people are anonymous. So, when you think about how cryptocurrencies are traded on a decentralized platform, you don't know who's who. You don't know if you're out here trading with scammers. You don't know if you're out here trading with frauds. You don't know who you're doing business with in the market. So there's some people who are attracted by this being an anonymous market because they just don't like having their business out there like that. But there's some people that'll get opportunistic and they'll be attracted to that for the wrong reasons. You got to make sure that if you're investing in cryptocurrency, you're doing it in a wise way. And you also want to think again about how the volatility of crypto makes it subject to market manipulation. What do I mean? I've seen times where cryptocurrency might have had artificial price movement. I've seen time where there may have been coordinated efforts to spread rumors about a cryptocurrency. Y'all might remember I did a show last year about how there were very high profile celebrities that had gotten paid millions by certain crypto funds to promote a certain coin, and it made millions of people invest in those coins only to go to the bottom. It caused all kinds of scandals, all kinds of lawsuits. It was an absolute mess. And I'm sure that you guys have seen the hype around certain currencies that was influenced by Elon Musk. Some of you guys have seen tweets where Elon Musk would talk about Bitcoin. Some of you guys have seen tweets where Elon Musk would talk about Dogecoin. Anytime you see a celebrity talking a lot about a particular coin, is going to put a lot of hype into the crypto market, and it could end up being a one-hit wonder. The currency could go up for like a minute. The coin could go up for a minute because somebody is talking about it, but as soon as they get done talking about it, then it could crash. And so these are all things that you want to consider. Another thing that you want to consider about cryptocurrency is its limited acceptance. What that means is cryptocurrency is becoming a lot more popular, but it's not a widely accepted form of payment. Not yet. Because it's not a widely accepted form of payment, it can still limit your usefulness. So you can go into any major store and you can buy something through the US dollar, but you cannot go into every major store and buy something through Bitcoin. It's not widely accepted. However, a lot of you guys are trying to be savvy investors and you want to get in now before it becomes widely accepted. That's the way of the future. So that by the time that it does become a widely accepted form of payment and currency, you're already there at the ground floor. Those are the people that typically make more money. But one of the things that I want you guys to think about is how crypto transactions are irreversible. Once a cryptocurrency transaction is confirmed on the blockchain, it cannot be reversed. That's what gives you a lot of security, but it also makes it very difficult to recover funds if you sent it to the wrong address. Guys, I don't know how many of y'all have traded crypto before, but the more that you try to find like one of these up and coming coins, the easier it is for you to transact money on a lower type of exchange that people don't talk a lot about. And then you could end up sending it to the wrong place and you don't get the money back. So this is everything that comes along with it, guys. Anytime that you invest your money is subject to risk. Anytime you try to do anything in life to be successful, it's always going to come with downsides. This is the nature of the beast. But when you think about crypto, particularly, these are the specific kinds of risk associated. And one of the things that you got to think about is the way that the interfaces are set up of crypto. It's not so user friendly. What I mean when I say that is, you know how sometimes if you go on websites, it's very easy for you to find what you're looking for. Man, you could go on some of these crypto websites and it's like trying to read Chinese. You have no idea what you're doing. You don't have any idea how it works. It becomes kind of hard to use. You have to study up on the crypto game before you really get into it. Okay. So before you decide to invest in crypto, here are some tips for the average person who's looking to get into the space. Number one, do your research. Do your homework before you invest in cryptocurrency. Make sure that you understand the technology behind it. Make sure that you understand the team behind the project. Make sure that you understand the pros and the cons. Make sure you do your due diligence. Do not just treat cryptocurrency like you're at a slot machine where you don't know nothing about it. All you're doing is putting money into something and hoping for the best. Do your research. The second thing that you guys need to do is diversify your portfolio. Okay. Cryptocurrencies are extremely volatile. So you don't want to put all of your money into one coin. You want to spread the money out into different coins so that way it protects your overall risk. The third thing that you really need is to only invest what you can afford to lose. Do not call me complaining about how you put your house up because you watched my video about cryptocurrency and how it could affect Black people for the better. Only invest what you can afford to lose. I keep telling you that crypto is volatile. I keep telling you guys, all investments come with risk. A lot of times when I invest in cryptocurrency, I only use play money to put into it. I do not put any amount of money to where if I lost it all, I would put my family at risk. You want to use a reputable exchange or a broker. There's a lot of different crypto markets out there. You want to make sure that if you're buying and selling cryptocurrency, you work with an exchange or a broker that's reputable, that's known for having top security. I personally use Coinbase. I'm not putting my stamp on them. You got to make sure that you do the research for yourself. You need to research what is the most reliable crypto exchange if you're focused on reliability. If you're focused on high security, you need to research what this is about. There's different crypto exchanges because they offer different benefits. Some of the crypto exchanges that are the most secure, they don't provide the best financial rewards. Some of the ones that give higher rewards come with higher risk. You got to decide which route you want to go in this crypto game. Also, you want to keep your currency secure. You want to store your cryptocurrencies in a secure wallet that you can control, okay? Do your research about a crypto wallet. Research private keys. It's going to come with passwords. And also, guys, I want you to stay alert on the latest news and trends. Study the crypto market. See where the technology is going. Do not just blindly put your money into something. The more you know, the better your chances are at growing. And last but not least, don't stay out of this game because of fear, guys. When we looked at the article, it talked about all the ways that the Black community has gotten burned in the past. There are now more opportunities than ever. There are more opportunities right now for us to create wealth. So don't just give up because of something terrible that has happened in the past. Not all Black people are broke. There are some of us that are prospering. And one of the most destructive things that was programmed into me when I was growing up was that every Black person was broke. If you do your homework and you apply the steps that I show you, you can do your part in making sure that the Black community is one step closer to building wealth. This might be the opportunity of a lifetime for us to change the game. All right, y'all. So listen, I'm out of here. It's definitely been a pleasure. For those of you that got a lot of value from this content, please make sure that you donate to this channel. All you got to do is tap the dollar icon that is directly below. I want to make sure that you guys definitely tap into more of this content. Thank you so much for everybody that's tapping in. If this is your first time, make sure that you subscribe to this channel, okay? I see the comment that you had before, oh no man, how can you get a copy of my book? I'm going to put the link for that right now, okay? I'm going to put the link for y'all so that way y'all have access to be able to get my book that you see right here, the How to Succeed Survival Guide. And I appreciate all of you guys for your support. If this is your first time watching this channel, please make sure that you subscribe so that way you can stay tuned for all of the shows on how to create generational wealth, okay? The link to the How to Succeed Survival Guide is right here. Get your copy. This is where I outline how I paid off over $95,000 in student loans 2 years after graduating from Baylor University. Okay, guys? So I'm out of here, y'all. This is not going to be a long show. I'm going to be back on, Lord willing, this Monday. I do these shows Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evenings, and I'm looking forward to seeing y'all the next time. All right? Love y'all. Have a great weekend. And remember, guys, we can change the game. Take care.